What's up, guys? Julian Hemmings here. I'm in an excellent mood. Yesterday, the Knicks won against the Indiana Pacers, Game 3. So this is pretty crazy. However, I want to talk to you guys about the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion case and what the Congresswoman did to bring up some new evidence. And we're going to talk about, if this evidence can be used to overturn Tory Lanez's trial, or but I want to add, that this is not, of course, legal advice. I'm just a guy studying the bar, so I'm happy to do this. Happy to give you guys some information, and hopefully we could really make something pop. So let's get this thing started.
Wrote it, and that it was a prosecution that was biased, and also it was done in racial discrimination. Okay, I'm gonna play what she said, but she now.
All right. So what DJ Academics is talking about is the argument to use the Racial Justice Act, which was passed in 2020 in California. What this act does is that it states that if there was racial bias that occurred, whether explicitly or implicitly, and this racial bias caused an increase in sentencing, then that needs to be, I believe, overturned. So let me keep this going. Let me just make sure I get this correct. Go ahead.
Now claims there's new evidence, and she says there is really exculpatory evidence that's came out now that clears Tory. This is after a week of us hearing that the bodyguard of Kelsey, Nicole, also heard or overheard Kelsey saying that she was the one who shot Meg, not Tory. So let's listen to this. They're gonna play an ad for a second. Hope you guys are doing good, man. Yeah, this Tory thing, he's getting the most support he ever got now. I think they're trying to roll up a.
Okay, I just want to confirm. So the Racial Justice Act can be used to overturn the conviction if that bias, so the defendant must prove that bias played a significant role in their case, and that bias influenced either the charging, conviction, sentencing, or jury selection. So when we're talking about the bias, we're talking about racial bias.
Package. I just don't know if that governor will do it, man. I think that governor, if it wasn't a high profile athlete, or not athlete, but celebrity like Megan Thee Stallion, I think they would pardon him or something of the sort. Also, if Roc Nation wasn't behind them, Roc Nation is firing off emails saying, "Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. We'll take on the state. Don't you fucking dare let this motherfucker out of jail." Let's play a little bit of the interview with Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, and she's out of Florida, but listen to what she says.
Understanding is you're around some kind of the Foreign Relations Committee, and you're from Florida. Why did you take such an interest in this case?
Specifically, how I got involved in this case is I actually am friends with Amber Rose, and she had flagged it for me. And when I actually spoke to the attorneys that are representing Mr. Lanez, they actually presented me with evidence. When I saw the evidence that was brought forward, we're talking about no forensics DNA on the magazine of the pistol, a 0.01 DNA match, which effectively means that he could not have been the shooter, to include there being ring footage that really refutes and dispels the testimony that he had basically said dance and then fired the firearm. In addition to that, there also being missing ballistics fragments from the alleged shot in the foot, as well as medical X-rays. All of this does indeed show and prove that Mr. Lanez, unfortunately, is being incarcerated and he's an innocent man.
Is this the new evidence?
Yeah, so what's important about this is that you need to have this new evidence coming out to be able to overturn the conviction. And while there can be evidence that is new that comes out after a case has occurred, that evidence must be of such a nature that is so compelling that it would likely lead to a different result. And will the representative's evidence that she claims she has be enough to change the results of the case? That's up to the judge.
That you had tweeted about this ring video. You said there's a ring video that will refute.
Yep, Yeah, it was actually brought to my knowledge by the attorneys, and we actually had posted that on one of our X platforms that there's allegedly ring video footage that refutes the statements and they, I would say, hearsay comments in court testimony.
Have you seen it, and is it going to be released?
I am actually actively pushing for the release of that, and there's also an affidavit that the attorneys have actually shown me already that actually came from, well, we will be presenting that and posting that publicly for everyone to see in the coming days.
If I was the appellate lawyer or the lawyer trying to secure a pardon for him or a new trial, and I had a video showing somebody else shot him, I would shot her. I would send that out immediately to the media to create this kind of firestorm to
then
release
you would get the
it.
governor's attention.
Why
wouldn't
wouldn't they immediately release a video if it shows? I mean, because that's the smoking gun, literally.
Right.
I don't know. Again, as I stated, I haven't seen the footage yet. But what I will say is that
that's a little bit unnerving, right? So like if you had this piece of evidence that completely vindicated Tory and you're the defense, why don't you bring it out? Maybe it doesn't vindicate Tory, right? Her body, the bodyguard from that night is claiming now that Harris, Megan Thee Stallion's friend, was the one that shot Megan, and you know that's what's coming out this time. But you know there's also a text message from Harris, I believe, that said that, oh my God, shortly after the shooting, uh, uh, you know Tory shot Meg. And then on top of that, there is a long apology that was made by Tory. I think DJ Dimm's going to talk about it later. There was a short apology made by Tory to Harris and Megan Thee Stallion about what happened that night. So a lot of this stuff is coming out, and it doesn't look good for Tory.
All right, man. Y'all know me. I'm always call a spade a spade. I want Tory to get out. Tory's my man's. I fuck with him. This chick's cap. She wants to get public support. She wants to rack up the votes. This might be a play for her for the next election that she
Right. I don't think this. It's just not strong enough.
Gets reelected or whatever to the House of Representatives. But she's making these declarative statements about Tory Lanez, and again, I'm pretty sure Tory's fucks with her, but
your workflow is.
you're not in. You might be in the government, but you're not in California. You asking California's governor to.
I didn't know that. What state is she in?
Pardon this guy means nothing. You claim you got evidence, but you ain't seen it.
Right.
We've heard about all these things. And again, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of with Harvey on this. Tory's my man, but we're going to have to keep it spade a spade. Do I think he deserves to be locked up? No, I think this is whole bullshit. But we're not going to go off and make a bullshit. Even more bullshit. The point is this. If I had a Ring camera video, send it out. Don't be like, oh, we got it. Drop it.
So Representative Anna Paulina Luna serves in the U.S. House of Representatives of the state of Florida.
Where's the video? Remember, Wack was saying that there was a kid, an underage kid that had a video of the whole incident, but then the mom didn't want it to cooperate. We never saw that. Give us something we ain't seen in court. We heard that Kelsey's bodyguard seen some shit. Where is he at? We're hearing a lot of things that makes us curious, but we're not getting nothing, like, we're not seeing it. A Ring camera footage of what happened, drop it. Nigga, that would be one of the biggest premieres all year. Be bigger than Sinners. Just drop it. The mere fact that this person is in the House of Representatives and she's speaking about this case, she ain't never seen the damn footage, even though she's claiming that there's footage that's exculpatory. She ain't never seen the footage. She's going off of affidavits. It's clear that she believes that if she advocates very loudly, and because in hip hop we look at people like her for having a name, we think that that would help. That's going to probably, we think that will help with the case of Tory. For her, she thinks this will help with her votes and, you know, how people see her in certain communities. The point is this, Shorty, if you didn't send the video, be quiet.
Yeah, like they're using Tory Lanez as a political football. This is what I was kind of talking about in a previous video. Representatives coming in and realizing like, oh, if we want to get the black community support, we could just go find some celebrities and dismiss their sentences. Look, I don't want to see if Tory Lanez didn't shoot Megan Thee Stallion. 100%, I want to see him free. If there's evidence that shows that there was racial bias involved in the case, 100%, let's see that. But again, Megan is a black defendant. I mean, Megan is a black woman who claims that she was shot. Tory Lanez is a black defendant. They were both black. On top of that, um, like I think that this case, however, does show an issue in regards to, Tory Lanez's First Amendment rights, because I believe he had a gag order on him. And then on top of that, even worse uh, than that, they used some of his rap lyrics to help prove that he did shoot Meg. And I think that that's a problem. I don't agree with, um, I don't agree with courts using rap lyrics to put people behind bars. I believe in artists having the right to their creativity, the right to tell stories. That's why the whole YW Melly situation made me feel a bit uncomfortable. I haven't looked at the case as much as I should, but this type of stuff, man, when we're discussing it and using that type of evidence, puts them away. That's pretty rough. However, there's a lot of evidence against Tory. There's a lot of eyewitness account that supported Megan Thee Stallion's claim, and it doesn't. And then on top of that, he was apologizing a lot during that phone call. So all that together, the jury came to their conclusion.
If you ain't see the video, be quiet. Now, here's the thing. And I think Tory got to be careful. Yo, Tory, you got a lot of these people who seemingly want to speak on your behalf. You ain't said nothing because you're nursing 14 stab wounds. They want to speak on your behalf. They want to overpromise. They want to claim that there's things that clearly show otherwise, that you got railroaded. All good. But at some point, if we don't see these things, like if we don't see this ring footage, what are we supposed to say?
I've recently come to learn that a lot of founders and marketers don't quite know.
What are we supposed to say, y'all? I would have dropped this shit on everywhere. Live leaks, YouTube. I'm streaming it all day on Kick, Twitch, everywhere. Where is the video? Now, here's the problem. We're hearing so many things, and because none of it is being introduced in court and all the media, and this is why I think Tory got to start checking people around him. Or he gonna have to have his lawyers start checking some of these people who are clout chasing. We're gonna get to a point where people are gonna say, yo, bro, we do want you out, but we're not gonna be moved by these things unless we see them. Y'all doing too much. Where's the video? Where's that? Y'all are promising a lot, but we ain't see it. White got the footage.
I think what's important about what DJ Academics is saying is the importance of realizing one's moments when advocating. It's important to realize that you should be able to use the media. The media is essential, especially when you're advocating for the underdog. But you don't want to create a relationship with the media where they think you're just, shooting the shits, or you're someone that is just kind of using them for pure promotion. They want to know that there is some kind of credibility with your story. if you're going to use the media is very dangerous. If they realize that you're just playing them, the media can harm you.
Bruh, if they got a footage showing Tory and do the shooting, they wouldn't have to do a TMZ interview. If I'm her, I would have booked a one-way flight to California, and I would have walked right up in that DA's office. You're a representative. I would have booked a meeting with the DA, the current DA of Los Angeles. You're the representative out of Florida. And I would have said, plug this into your computer, give them the USB stick. And when they see that Tory and do it, they said that's an incarcerated individual in California that your DA's office that you inherited put in jail. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
What are you going to do? You wouldn't even have to come on TMZ. There's no need to come on TMZ. This idea of coming on TMZ seems like, listen, to get a pardon, you got to do philanthropic shit and then you got to do a press run. This seems like the press run. I still don't think the nigga is going to pardon him. I don't think Gavin Newsom is going to pardon that Tory at all. So now we got to say, if you have exculpatory evidence, this is what I would do. You put it out immediately. And then, first of all, the governor would pardon him immediately. He would pardon. If that's the egg on the face of the county of Los Angeles, the governor's going to pardon him immediately. And then I would start filing in court. Now, I know what they said before. They said, well, there's already legit shit filed in court. But fuck the DNA on this. Fuck they ain't get the driver to test. Fuck that. If y'all got a testimony, if y'all got a video, I would rip up the habeas corpus appeal and also the fucking appeal for a new trial. Fuck a new trial. I ain't do it, bitch. That shit would be all over everywhere.
Right. Yeah, I think when you're holding back and you're making big promises and making big threats, you're bluffing. You know, it's clear that Representative Luna is bluffing, and the governor's not going to pardon him because the governor's not going to ruin his reputation by making this type of mistake.
Give it to me. Do anything with it. So now, because I'm not seeing this, and one thing, I do fuck with Tory, but I'm just not an idiot. Now I got to say, does this shit exist? And this is why I say this chick cloud chasing and she gonna look stupid. If Tory didn't send you the footage and you're not making statements about this, you know you're cooked after this, right? If this don't come out, you're cooked. Let me just tell you how it works. And I'll tell you how I work. Because sometimes y'all see I walk up on this goddamn stream and I say certain shit with my chest, definitively. When I say it definitively, and I'm down to stand on it, because I seen it with these two eyes. I seen it. Even if I'm talking to the guy, I said, yo, could you show me it? Let's do FaceTime or something. Cool. I just need to see it. I need to see it exist. I think this chick should have never done a fucking interview and need to stop tweeting until she see the video. And if I'm Tory's team, I need y'all to put the video out immediately. Other than that, what are we talking about? There's no secret videos no more. You're in public jail. Release the video. There's no more secret videos. I would be dropping everything every day. Y'all should have a video interview with the bodyguard already. Drop that shit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The public is supporting Tory. But I done told you the reality behind this case. This is not.
I don't think the public is necessarily supporting Tory. I just don't think people want to see, I think this is a really difficult situation for everyone. But again, if Megan was shot, I don't know. I mean, but just show the evidence, man. Right? Because it's been a couple of days. I've been waiting. I haven't seen anything new in regards to evidence.
This is not like some science fiction. He has a 30% chance of getting out of jail. Otherwise, he's going to serve the majority or what is the state mandated required amount of the 10 years, and then he will get deported if he's not a citizen. That's how it works.
There are 101 ways that you could.
The case is already done. The trial's already done. He has 30% chance of getting out and not getting deported. The best thing would be a pardon, but I'm telling you, it's the wrong governor and it's the wrong place. I do believe if this was Florida,
Texas.
if this was Texas, I believe that a governor, if it caught significant support, would pardon Tory Lanez. Not in California. California is the home of the transgenders,
All right.
home of the beta males, and home of all the woke activity. They'll be damned if they pardoned a man of African American descent who got a tattoo of an AK-47 in the middle of his chest that goddamn supposedly shot a woman. It won't happen in this lifetime or the next.
I think DJ Academics is kind of, he's feeding into his base right now, kind of the red pill guys. But what he's saying, where I can understand it, is talking about the political lens by which a lot of appeals are when they're high profile come to. And politics can work in your favor or it can work against you. And Megan Thee Stallion's connection with Rock Nation, Jay-Z, Beyonce, that celebrity culture in California is not going to work to, the favor of Tory Lanez. But it's also important to add that Tory Lanez doesn't have any evidence. Nothing strong enough to basically say that if this was introduced, it would overturn the conviction. So, we can't change the politics situation. We can't change the politics of the situation. But hopefully we can change is the discovery of evidence. Unless there really is no evidence.
Trump would pardon you before motherfucking Gavin Newsom. His entire, you got to realize part of the criticism he caught for even the fires is that this nigga is so woke. He one of them niggas that believe in climate control, all this type of greenery bullshit. That's people have thought that his inaction has resulted in more forest fires and the whole fire shit. So he's not a nigga who goes against what those traditional beliefs are, even if it's burning down his whole fucking state. You think he gonna go against it for Tory Lanez, my nigga? He's not going against women. Because for him, it's not about the details of the case. It's about politics. He would get his ass kicked from here until forever from now if they could say, brother, you do know that you pardoned a man that shot a woman, shot a famous celebrity. You know you did that, right? He don't want his name on that. He ain't gonna do it. I'm telling you. I'll take a friendly bet with anybody. I bet up to 5K, he won't do it. Now, hold on, let me go back on that. He won't do it if there's no video. Real exculpatory shit. I don't think he'll do it on the bodyguard of Kelsey. I don't think he cares that much. That's for the appellate court to figure out. But if there's a video of the incident that happened and Tory Lanez did not shoot very clear, if y'all drop it today, he'll sign that order tomorrow. I don't know why it's not dropped today. Why the hell is you on TMZ? Drop the video. Drop the video. Drop the fucking video.
Let's see a lawyer talk about the situation.
On dumb decisions, guys like me wouldn't have any work. So just make sure you stay out of harm's way. It's not that hard.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
Lawyer.com, and they have an AI component that got injured. Anyway, but he got fucking 10 years for that shit. 10 years. And his lawyers have filed a motion for a new trial or a pardon or whatever they're trying to do. They're making a last-ditch effort saying that somebody else fired the weapon and that the bodyguard is supporting that theory now. The problem with that is, was that information available at the time and they just didn't find it? Or why is it now new? So it's very difficult to get new information into court to try to redo something that's already happened. So they don't have, I think, much of a shot at that. But
hey, man, you heard from the lawyer himself.
so there's other news in the Tory Lanez saga. He served a 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion back in 2020, but he
So he has 5 years left in his case.
was brutally stabbed on May 12th of this year at a California prison. There's a couple of rules in prison. You can either give it up or fight. And my guess is that he didn't want to give it up, if you know what I mean. He suffered a collapse.
Tory Lanez was stabbed because not because of giving it up. He made comments about one of the inmates' wife, saying that she wanted a black man, and that's why he was stabbed.
Collapsed lung and critical injuries, but he's since stabilized, and he's being transferred to a new facility for safety reasons, as confirmed by his father. His name is actually Daystar Peterson, and his dad is Sunstar Peterson. His legal team claims new evidence in the Megan Thee Stallion case, alleging her former friend Kelsey Harris fired the gun, and supposedly it's supported by a bodyguard statement prompting calls for a pardon from California Governor Gavin Newsom. Anna Paulina Luna and Drake, who shared a petition with 270,000 signatures. However, Megan Thee Stallion and her lawyer, a stallion's a male horse. Did you know that? Why would you call yourself a stallion? I don't get it. Megan Thee Stallion and her lawyer, Alex Spiro, have dismissed these claims, asserting Lane's guilt was proven in court while she faces ongoing harassment from his supporters. So following the stabbing, Lane's legal...
Yeah, man, this case has not only been hard for Tory, but it's been hard for Megan. I think their careers, because that one incident after that Kylie Jenner pool party has severely impacted their careers. That just shows you, man, one day with destiny can change your entire life. So just keep yourself safe, guys.
Teams and supporters, including Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna and rapper Drake, have intensified calls for Gavin Newsom to commute his 10-year sentence. So let's just take a look at the guy that stabbed him. So here's the thing. What the fuck is this now? The man prison officials say stabbed Tory Lanez multiple times, say he thought the rapper was coming to take his life. Claiming Tory put a price on his head and he simply acted out of self-defense. So he supposedly gives TMZ an interview. Let's see what he has to say.
What exactly took place between you and Tory Lanez?
So Santino Casio is the guy who stabbed Tory.
That day that you stabbed him allegedly.
Okay. That day? Nothing much took place that day. Everything led up to that day, but that day I just came out in the morning to Chow, good morning, and I told him what's up, give him a little fist bump back.
I just came out in the morning with a shank and said good morning.
Everything is good. We had a little situation the night before and the day before.
So what's the situation the night before and the day before?
So I heard some rumors that he was trying to put money on my head. He felt uncomfortable living next to me, said I was a threat. So I confronted him. And then I found out the same thing. Because he tried to put money on my head, so he said I put money on his head. So we had a little discussion or whatever. So the next morning, that night, he said some shit. I'm kind of crazy. So the next morning, I came out to see if everything was good. Took his phone, talked to him. He said, yeah. So I was going back into my cell. And when I looked back, instead of going to town, he was walking towards my door. He stood in front of my cell, looked at his boys, made a little smirk. And when he showed me what he had and something in his pocket, I just rushed him. I just
What do you have in his pocket?
So, in prison, it isn't fun. I mean, and it can be dangerous. By and large, it's not dangerous. I have yet to have anybody get really seriously hurt who went to prison. But it does happen. Client/friend of mine, we became good friends after a while. He went to prison for 5 years for drugs. He was in 12 prison fights, and he won 7 of them. He was jumped by 3 or 4 guys, and then he wound up getting each one alone and beat the shit out of him. And then he just wouldn't leave people alone. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to do, and they said, no matter how many times you come back at me, I'm going to come back at you twice as hard. And they wound up leaving him alone after that. But this guy was ready for him.
He showed me, to me, like, I believed it could be a weapon at the time. So I rushed it, and I just snatched him. I just took advantage of him. He was weak. I just threw him all over, and I just kept slamming him and stabbing him.
Sometimes you just don't have anything to lose in prison. If you're serving a life sentence for murder, and if you have a gun case and it's an assault case, you might be designated as high risk. And so this guy here, he evidently didn't give a shit.
Are you trying to kill him?
No, not at all. But
I was stabbing him and stabbing him and stabbing. Were you trying to kill him? No, I was just trying to have a little tea with him. Give me a break.
I thought like it was a weapon. I thought great. And
yeah, you stab a guy 14 times. You weren't trying to kill him. No, I mean, but the fact that he's able to even do this interview, his attorney's probably fighting for him, and he's saying all this stuff is kind of crazy.
I didn't get my leg. I felt like, oh, stab me. So I moved back and I kept stabbing more. And I feel that he threw something. So
a couple of things that don't make sense with his little soliloquy here. He says he was weak. He kept throwing him around like a rag doll. And he went back, and then I kept stabbing him. I mean, what he's saying doesn't make sense.
I was like, what the is that? I just kept going. After he was yelling, help, screaming, please help me.
He was yelling help. I mean, he doesn't sound like he's the aggressor here.
I just kicked him once in that safe position and sit on and look at me. And then I just let him go. Like, I just saying, like, man, you trying to kill me?
What were you guys like? I know what the...
Look at me, motherfucker. Sounds like self-defense to me.
Why would he pick you out of all people to want to put money on your head? What was the beef exactly about?
It was really no beef. He just talked a lot. And I had confronted him a while back.
There was really no beef. I just wanted to get some clout. I wanted to fuck up a celebrity. That's really what it was.
Always saying certain around me. Like, I'll take a fade, I'll knife up, I'll put a place. And to me, I feel like the second, third time hearing that conversation, I was like, man, what you trying to say? So I approached him and told him, like, what's up? Like, just go, I'll come into your cell, we'll do whatever, like, let's play this game, like, because I felt like he was kind of antagonizing me, like, testing me, like, if someone was afraid or something. We were cool at the beginning. We were cool for, like, a year. We chill, kicked it together, everything. It just...
Oh, they're not on that type of prison yard, Rochelle.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They got like little fractions, but she was more like he was different. He started kicking it with certain people.
He said there are different factions. In prison, obviously there are
racial factions in prison. You have the Latinos, the blacks, the whites.
Gangs. I mean, you get the blacks generally stay with the blacks, the Nazis or the fucking skinheads stay with the skinheads, bikers stay with the bikers, and that was one of the problems that my buddy / client had. He didn't stick with one group, and he didn't give a shit. He was going to be friends with whoever he wanted to.
And we started being mad that time when we had our little misunderstandings and we stopped talking as much. But we were neighbors for a while. I've been knowing him for about 2 years already.
Okay. And during the neighbor the situation when you and him grew a friendship?
Yeah, we were cool.
That's crazy. So you go from being, I mean, this is the thing about prison, right? Like being in that space, it warps you, right? So to just imagine you have an issue with your neighbor. You probably couldn't conceive going up to your neighbor and just shanking him like 14 times. But the way that prison just kind of orients one's mind, it results in them taking out action that are just really brutal, violent, cruel.
We chilled, we ate, we drank, we partied, we kicked it. Yeah, we were good.
How much did the guy tell you that he paid to have you killed to get off the yard?
Oh, he said double whatever I was offering, but I never made that offer. That's what I never understand. He said that someone told him I offered people money to get rid of him. So he said he would give that person.
Oh, so this is different. So I thought it was because of him, Tory, making a comment about his wife, but I also seems like there was a thing about putting money on somebody's head. I don't know if Santino's telling the truth here, but that's pretty dark.
Some double and some dope and stuff. So. But truth be told, I never offered no money. Like, why would I offer somebody something I could do? It didn't make sense. But once you yelled and make threats and all that.
All right. That's enough of that. So this is we're going to listen to a call from Tory Lanez. Let's just see what he says and see how this helps or hurts his case.
So this call is going to be in regards to Tory talking to Miss Harris and about the about the shooting. So I'm gonna play it, and then I'm just gonna talk about what this thing means. But to me, this doesn't put Tory in a great light.
You probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but bruh, I just want you to know, bruh. Nigga, I was just so fucking drunk, nigga. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. That ass. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Like that ass, nigga. I'd never do some shit like that, bro. Just that.
Like, what does he mean? Do some S word like what? Does it mean the shooting? Does he mean like messing with Kylie? Does he mean what is he talking about? The jurors probably took this to mean the shooting.
Yeah, nigga, I was so fucking drunk, nigga. I just didn't even understand what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, so whatever. Yeah. Bro. But regardless, that's not gonna make anything right, and that's not gonna make my actions right, bro.
But he's talking around it, right? So you really can't say Tory said this and he meant this and he did this, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where someone, concluded that this is what this thing meant.
Apparently, later that night, Tory texts somebody. I know you're probably never going to talk to me again, but I generally want you to know that I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and I was just too drunk. Nonetheless, shit should have never happened, and I can't change what I did. I just feel horrible. That's all well and good, but how is that going to help with this new evidence? It's not going to help him at all. So this Peterson tried to buy his silence through bribes. Peterson begged Pete and Harris to keep quiet, offering each bribe $1 million. So let's see a statement from Tory.
Peterson is Tory Lanez's name.
Tory Lanez legal team regarding the new evidence.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had where she stated She had the gun. She fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times.
If that's the case, where the hell were you during the trial?
In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates.
So, Unite the People is a legal advocacy organization based in California used to support criminal justice reform through appeals. So this is what the gentleman's talking about, and this is who he's with.
That Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not.
So I don't know why this evidence didn't come up before, but it's out now. And is that going to be enough to get him a new trial? I don't know.
Assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson.
Monday.
Even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver?
No, that's a cynical view, isn't it?
Of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
This guy is very cynical. So Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years despite having no prior record, largely due to a firearm enhancement law now that under the scrutiny for racial bias. Black defendants face a 92% higher rate of this enhancement. That's just not justice, according to Representative Anna Paulina Luna. She intensified calls for the governor Gavin Newsom to pardon Lanez or commute his 10-year sentence. You know, here that would be a 36-month mandatory minimum sentence. So let's see what this representative had to say.
Is based on the evidence that we have. The evidence that we have says that he was.
The only issue is you don't have the evidence, Representative Luna.
Wasn't the guy.
2022, singer, rapper Tory Lanez, convicted of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion after a party at the Hollywood Hills home of Kylie Jenner. Here's the story. They're at the party. After the party, they get into an argument. Lanez tells Megan Thee Stallion, dance, and shoots at her feet like a cowboy movie, hits her. Proof?
That sounds like something that would happen, you know, when somebody's drunk and out of control. And you have an admission from him that he was sorry and that he was drunk and out of his mind, didn't know what he was doing.
Testimony of Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey Harris, and DNA evidence on the weapon that convinced jurors to convict. Pretty simple, right? Maybe not. Turns out that DNA, only a 0.01% chance that the DNA is from Lanez. He's always maintained his innocence. He was sentenced to 10 years, so this is really about the testimony.
But the problem is that the jury heard that testimony on the DNA.
Lanez, so what happens? So he goes away, recently stabbed 14 times in prison. Many say it was a hit, okay? Because new evidence is about to come out.
The reason why I took a particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved the conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's, not to mention.
It is so common for people to have multiple DNAs on a gun.
Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine, and
Not to mention the fact that you often don't find fingerprints on firearms or the magazine.
also too, as you said, 0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. We are calling on gas.
That's the problem, right? Like with this is why it's so good listening to Bruce Rivers. You know, people have so many outlandish claims who don't study law and never did trials. Like, this doesn't mean this. This means it. This, but this guy is a trained criminal defense lawyer, and he's able to tell you, you know, the science behind the evidence.
To issue that.
So we got the forensic. So according to Paulina Luna, the forensic evidence in the Tory Lanez case was deeply flawed because there's a 1.1% chance that DNA on the firearm was his, but you don't always get DNA on a firearm. 0% on the magazine, no fingerprints, DNA from 4 individuals found. Tory wasn't the primary contributor, but he probably couldn't be excluded. A key gunshot residue test is never performed. They almost never do those GSR tests anymore. And you know why? Because if you go wash your hands, it just doesn't really help. Lanez has appealed his conviction, arguing improper testimony and evidence led to miscarriage of justice. His appeal is pending in the California 2nd Judicial District, or Appellate District, and Lanez has also filed a habeas corpus petition claiming the gun and the bullet fragments were not made available for further testing, violating his due process rights. Prosecutors rejected these claims in November 2024, stating that the gun is with the Los Angeles Police Department and available for testing. Lanez called the allegations demonstrably false. And I don't know that he's even made any attempt to do any more testing. So according to Representative Anna Paulina Luna, newly discovered body cam in medical records show Megan Thee Stallion initially claimed she stepped on glass, but see, that stuff was all in the trial, and the ER records showed no bullet fragments on X-rays. Well, it doesn't. You're not always going to get bullet fragments. You hardly ever do, and the bullet fragments allegedly removed are now missing. Oh no. Evidence handling was a disaster. Under California's Racial Justice Act and recent legislation limiting the use of rap lyrics and character evidence, Tory Lanez deserves a full review. His conviction was built on outdated and unconstitutional grounds. Lane's trial included prosecutorial misconduct. I'm not going to go into everything she has to say, but you've got his admission. He apologizes. Why do you apologize for something that you didn't do? That's my only issue with Tory Lanez. I mean, she did have another injury, and she said it was glass, and she gave an explanation, but that all happened in his trial. And she was cross-examined, and you don't get a second bite at the apple just because. Now, if this other evidence, wasn't available at the time of the trial, and it exonerates him because it's an alternative perpetrator, perhaps that, and if it's just the bodyguard saying this, does that get him anywhere? Probably not. So we'll continue to follow all your
Yeah, this is good to do this with you guys because I think that a lot of the time, people want things to happen in cases and they think it's like movies, right? But seeing this for yourself, seeing the evidence for yourself, and seeing kind of like the realistic picture of what's going to happen is pretty cool. And as always, guys, thank you all for being here with me. Thanks for listening to me. And I'm always going to be here for you. The People's Champ, Julian Hemmings, out ya.